All right. It looks like we are live. Going to just check my feeds. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Make sure everybody can hear and see me. I hope you are enjoying your week. Let us see. Here we go. Okay, let's check over here and see. All right, that's working. Perfect. All right. So, welcome everybody to Burnout Hiding in Plain Sight. Today, we are talking about waiting and watching for something to go wrong, right? So, when I wrote about this topic, I shared that my mom has this saying: "It's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it." So I'm sure that many of us grew up in settings where we had maybe we were in some kind of childhood group where it was like be prepared, right? Or you had a mom who said, gave you this kind of wisdom. Uh, I'll also say, as I mentioned in the post, that one of the things I noticed about my elders is that they also they had a great knack for using what they had to turn it into what they needed, right? Even when it wasn't going the way it was, the thing they didn't have exactly what they needed, they actually could create it, right? Um, so that sort of inspires me to help us shift out of these places where we can get stuck, right? So this is what these lives are all about. It's like these places we get stuck that create this challenge for us, that create a challenge where our nervous system is sort of in this space of being overactive and we're spiraling and getting closer into burnout. So they are patterns, right? These patterns can exist within us and they can exist in our environment. The codes of conduct around us can also encourage us to be in this place where we might be waiting and watching for something to go wrong. So let's think about what happens to our inner body, like our nervous system, like what's going on inside of us when we are waiting and watching for things to go wrong. Again, preparation is good. When you're doing something like major that you really care about, and I think most of us are really care a lot about our careers because we come to our careers because they mean something to us, right? So you care about these things, so you want to be prepared. You don't want to get to a meeting and feel like you don't have what you need, or you can't answer questions in a way that's thorough and shows that you have insight, you critically analyze the situation, right? So you want that. Where it gets tricky is when we come to this place of, oh, wow, so I'm getting ready for this thing and I've done all the things, but maybe there's something else that I missed. Okay. Did I miss that? Okay, then you go check on that thing you missed. And so it's that tension, right? It's like you can ask yourself so many what ifs that you exactly feel like you are literally in a compressor where every what if is just pressing you a little bit down more and scrunching you into a small ball. Now, a small ball, right? It's full of energy, right? But it's the energy's all compacted. You can't really flow with it. You can't really do much with it. So what you want is to be able to sort of massage that small ball feeling that you have when you just what if yourself way too much and try to get to that place where you feel the energy flowing again. And again, these patterns can happen because we are in, right, this is the way we grew up. Maybe even in your upbringing, people save things because they were concerned, right? I'll tell you that my elders, like my grandmother's generations, they saved every receipt, and my mom still does it, every receipt, because they were so nervous that somebody might come and say they didn't pay for something, because it used to happen to them. They were actually wrongfully accused for things, right? So they grew into this habit of like keeping things that they did need, right? Though it or may not happen, right? So they did have to be ready, because there were these uncertainties that just existed in their environment because of social issues, right? So sometimes this sort of way of being exists also in a profession. This is somebody raised this question in the comments underneath this event post. And she said, what about if you're in a profession where that's what you're supposed to do? You have to try to figure out every possible eventuality. Well, for sure, there might be times in your profession where you really need that. Hopefully, you're also working in teams where people are like helping you double check things that you're not, right? But if you go through all the steps that you know in your profession, right? You know, this is the code, these are the standards, these are things we check. If you go through that and you still can't let yourself settle down, then your nervous system, right, is on this kind of overdrive when it doesn't need to be. If something goes wrong, right, which it can, right, there's also your professional acumen. There's your knowledge that you can bring to bear in any situation. So that's what I want to talk about. Like, yes, this exists, but also how do we get ourselves out of it? What are the strategies? So one thing that I think about, like from the personal standpoint, is once you've done all of your double checks and you still have that sort of questioning in your mind, then you want to come to this place of actually realizing that there are some things that are uncertain. So there's one thing is that. But if your mind is really going and your body's all that, you can't really even get to that yet. So the first thing is actually going to be to just start to calm your body, right? Slow your body down. Give your body a little bit of a space to say, okay, she's safe, he's safe, they're safe, so that you can start to access more of your inner resources. Because if you are caught in that what ifs and you're like feeling in a compressor, your body is on that, like, oh, wait a minute, we might have to fight somebody, kind of, right? So the first thing really will be to slow your body down, even if it's something that happens in your professional environment where there's like a standard where people are just always running around and worried and there's like a rush in your office. I think of that show, West Wing. It's an old television show about the White House, and everybody always talks so fast on the show. It gave you that sense that they were always under pressure. It was all everything's. So if you work in that kind of environment, you may have to do even more sort of centering and settling yourself, because we feed off of each other, right? If you're in that environment, right? So it would be great if your managers in that environment knew how to like do what's called co-regulation, and they could actually calm themselves and get centered, because that feeling will spread. So if you're in this state of feeling compressed, the first thing is just to settle your body. That can happen with breath. I shared a breath technique last week, 2 weeks ago, and then today I think I'll share another one. I think I'll have enough time to share another one today that helps to actually quiet the mind. Like, it's really known for quieting the mind. It takes like 5 minutes, so you can do it several times a day if you need to, right? And then you want to just get inside those thoughts. Like, if the thoughts the thoughts are here there to guide you to something. Are they bringing up things, right, that you need to pay attention to? And then once you problem solve those things, then your thoughts should probably calm down, right? However, if you get into this place where you're like doubting yourself, there have been so many what ifs that now you're questioning yourself, and now you're like getting back into the compressor because you're saying, "Oh my God, this is gonna go wrong again. I don't know what will happen if right." If you get to that place, then again you're gonna have to settle your body, and then I would suggest the next thing that really often helps is to sit with that stressful situation, whatever it is you're feeling, and write it. Like, this technique of writing about it for like 4 days in a row to see what comes up, and then see what you need based on what the themes are in that. But writing gets the body involved, right? There's a sensory experience. Your eyes are there. You could almost hear the words coming to you. So it's multi-sensory. So it actually helps you to settle yourself. And then the last thing I would say is to encourage yourself to be curious, right? The other side of wondering what if, right? To me, if you're wondering what if, like you're sort of like saying there are possibilities, right? So curiosity is another way of thinking about possibilities. To adopt this sort of, okay, I'm going to get curious about what I might need, what might show up, and how I can just be present with that in that moment, and then be able to deliver my knowledge and my acumen to use it in that situation. If you're working in an organization, then particularly as a manager, like I just saw a colleague posted yesterday about um, one of the marks of a leader is, it was a quote from Peter Drucker, that there's one of the marks of a leader is someone who knows how to manage their own energy, and then they cultivate the energy of those people that they are nurturing, or they are helping to lead, right, into guide through a project. So this whole, right, being able to watch the person who seems like they're constantly what ifing themselves, right? As a leader, you can notice those patterns, and you can begin to help them shift, even by shifting and saying to them, okay, I see you've done these things. I'm gonna get you to take a break right now. Just talk to me about where you are. What do you think you need? All right, let's have somebody else take a look at this, right? Those kinds of things you can do as a manager or a leader to help someone who may have gotten stuck or feels like they're stuck in that place of, oh my, what if, and I'm doubting myself, right? Um, so I would say those are the major strategies to get you to the point where you can actually sit with the idea and be curious about the idea that we don't know every possibility. We'll never know every possibility, right? And guess what? We're usually what ifing about what could go wrong. We rarely go to what if something goes really well. And this is like an interesting example, but it just happened to me a few days ago. I was going to an event. Someone texted me saying, hey, are you going to this event? I forgot to tell you about it. It's at 1 o'clock. And I was like, oh, shoot, maybe they changed the time. Let me get around the corner. So I get there early, but the event time hadn't changed. I was like, oh, so I'm out here now. Maybe I'll just get my steps in. So I go for a walk, right? Right. So I'm like, okay, so this moment showed up like, oh, that's unexpected. I was ready for another time, right? And then I thought the time was changed, but it really wasn't. So now I'm here like, okay, so what I do at this time? I take a walk, and I, window shopped a little bit. And then as I'm coming, getting my steps going, I run into an old friend who actually can help me with a project that I'm working on. So it's like, wow, here was like, I could have been just like totally angry. Like, shoot, I could have been home doing some work. There are these things I could have been doing. I could have been like resting. I could have been whatever. I could have just gone for my walking, right? So, but that was a totally unexpected good thing that happened. My encouragement to you is that don't let your what if steal, right? The what ifs, right? The what if things could go wrong, steal you from the what if things go right. Just like sit with that for a minute. What if something goes really well? What can you be on that side? And curiosity can help you get on that side as well. So I'm going to offer you this short breathing practice. And in this breathing practice, um, takes about 5 minutes. I'm actually going to get my little timer here so I make sure that I don't go over and go, right, use too much time. All right, so the first thing is just to sit comfortably. You want to sit up for this because it's a 5-minute practice and you don't want it to, right? You want to like be present. So you sit up, and as you sit there, just first notice that your body is breathing itself without any effort, just breathing. Noticing the in and the out of your breath. And when you inhale, just allow your shoulders to just reach up a bit toward the sky with ease. And as you exhale, allow your hips to settle in to the surface beneath you. Inhale, feeling your spine reaching up and lengthening. Exhale, feeling your spine reaching down and settling into the surface beneath you. Noticing the rise and fall of your belly. Just paying attention now to that rise and fall, because in just a moment we will begin to shape our breath. Noticing the rise and fall. And now we're going to shape the breath so that both the inhale and the exhale are equal count. So we're going to inhale for 4 and we will exhale for 4. So on my count of inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Continuing on your own for another minute or so to your own internal count of 4. Inhaling for 4 and exhaling for 4 to your own count. Finding the rhythm of breath that feels right for you. And on the next inhale, feel, sense, or trust that the breath is arriving at your nostrils, especially for you. And receive the breath for a count of 4. And then release the breath for a count of 4. Allowing the breath to be smooth. You can envision the breath on the inhale as a paint stroke moving up, and on the exhale as a paint stroke moving down. So the breath itself moves with the same width and texture on the inhale as on the exhale. Your own count of 4. Allowing the breath to be smooth. Ironing out any breaks or hitches. Feeling the breath smooth. Inhaling and receiving. Exhaling and releasing. Noticing the breath arriving, especially for you. Simply receiving the breath. And exhaling, simply releasing the breath. Your own count of 4. Now release the counting. And just notice once again that your body is breathing. You can even deepen the breath a bit. And as you deepen the breath, become aware of the surface beneath you, the feel of your clothes against your body. Perhaps remembering what the room looks like if your eyes are closed. And as you are ready, open your eyes. All right. So I'm just going to check to see if there might be a question that I can answer. Sometimes the questions don't show up, the comment thing doesn't show up. So it's kind of like, let me just check over here and see if I see anything. Okay, looks like that's good. I'm also going to check here. Make sure everybody has what they need. If you do have a question and I don't get to it, you can always, always, always message me and I will answer. All right. Okay. I think that we are good. All right, everybody. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Hey, Kat. How you doing? Nice to see you. I got a comment over on YouTube. Thank you. Nice to see you. All right. All right. Have a great 2 weeks. I'll see you in 2 weeks. All right. Yes, always good to see you. See you soon.